say, like, not a negative way, but not a positive way, kind of neutrally.
I use it constantly, probably way too much.
We work with computers and cameras and the internet all day long.
Every facet of it, from when I wake up to my cell phone, use my alarm.
I mean, the amount of time that we spend just casually leafing through our phones, I mean, I'm just as guilty. We don't allow technology at the dinner table at my house, and we always sit down to eat dinner together with, especially during the week, there's no TV, no phones are allowed, nothing like that. So, I mean, that's time away that is good, but, at night, if I'm just in bed trying to decompress, I'll pull my phone out and I'll leaf through this, that, and the other, and if I'm waiting for something, it's the first thing you do.
One of the main disadvantages is people wasting time.
The thing with kids now is the threat of bullying is a big problem now in a way that we as teachers can't really address because we can't control social media, but we still have to be aware of it.
People are disconnected from reality.
Not all people are able to use the technology. There are a lot of margins for error, I would say, in technology today.
Disadvantages, it can, with the rise of social media, and it's all talked about, a little cliche at this point because it's saturated the conversation about it, but it is true that it kind of dehumanizes interactions between people and the way they communicate. It's not, I wouldn't say it's totally human because it's online.
We're not as interactive with others when we're out or we're at home. We're not talking to them face to face. We're on our phones or we're watching TV.
Positively, it affects a lot of the people that I have a relationship, or a lot of others that I work with, in a good way, because like I said earlier, we're able to communicate fast and better, have a quicker response, and we're able to disseminate more information out to more people a lot faster.
Communication. I have lots of different friends all over, and I think just unlimited access to information is really important.
Infinite source of information. To think 20 years ago that you couldn't really access stuff by pulling something out of your pocket and having the world's biggest library in your hand, and now that only provides not something that's maybe you need to know how to do a math problem or something like that, but it can also help save lives. You basically have a doctor there in the palm of your hand. It's incredible.
The goal, yes, what I do in teaching videography is to try to get students to understand how it works so that they're not passive consumers but active consumers and preferably producers.
I'm using an electronic device that allows me to transpose on the spot and have a metronome going and allow for tuning. I use the TV and an Apple iPad and an Apple TV every day. So I mean, it has its benefits and its drawbacks.
With today's technology, I think we're able to do things a lot faster than before. I think we're able to communicate a lot faster, and I think we're able to reach a large amount of people in a short amount of time a lot better.
Well, when I was growing up, we still had, I remember getting my first flip phone in middle school and Razor Motorola or whatever, and I don't know, I feel like with my generation it was naturally flowing into it. I didn't get to see the before part, I was kind of during. So to me it was natural in the way it kind of came in, so it didn't really bother me.
No, I could never have imagined the world the way it is when I was younger, even 15 years ago. It was completely different. And I've always been reluctant to get the new thing, to fit into the latest technology craze. And my mother was the same way. She didn't even want to get an answering machine. She said, if we're not home, they'll call back.
We were probably the last people to see schools changed from using like textbooks and whiteboards into like having laptops and stuff, and our like younger siblings, younger people are completely surrounded, like they have never known not having like phones at age 5. Like that's insane.
No, I mean I remember when I was a kid hearing about the internet, the internet superhighway, and saw all the conversations about it, and it all seemed so futuristic and so alien. I remember the first time we got a dial-up modem at our house, and we got to get on AOL and chat rooms and all this stuff. You never think like this has a stronger computer than what sent astronauts to the moon in the late 1960s. This. It's mind-boggling when you think of what technology. I mean, the thing I'm talking into right now has more power than like rooms did 20 years ago. I never thought we would have the things we do today. I mean, the fact that I can write something on my iPad that is instantly shown on a TV is insane. I can't believe where it's going to be in the next 10 to 15 years. It's an impressive thing.
Positively, it can help. Like I live in Greensboro currently. My parents are back home in Smithfield, which is kind of near Raleigh, so I don't get to see them that often, but I can call them, I can Skype them or FaceTime them and see them, and it's nice to see them and get to talk to them like on video as we would in person, albeit like not exactly as we would in person interact, but that's pretty cool. So being able to text people, get updates during the day, that's nice. So I don't have to like write letters, send them on a carrier pigeon. Negatively, there can be miscommunications, which we've all experienced, where with something you put into text or even over phone call, when you can't see emotions in the face or in the body, things can get misconstrued and taken wrong.
More negatively than positively, but there are some positive aspects. Like I can reach them if I need to, I can call them, I can text them, I can FaceTime them. But there's also things like we're at like a restaurant, we're all looking down at our phones and we're not actually interacting, or like I'll be like, here, look at this video and stuff like that.
I think the technology brings some generations together also in terms of it being easier for young people to text or send an email quickly, as opposed to feeling like it's too much of an imposition for them to actually go and visit. And also it's a double-edged sword. It's the same problem. Then they're not making those visits, they're not making those phone calls.
Social media specifically has really impacted, like, especially our generation, negatively.
I have to remind myself every now and again, and my wife and I both do this, to be present in the moment. I mean, there are times where, like, if the boys are playing in the bathtub, it's really easy to just take my phone out and check Facebook. But I need to remind myself that they're only going to be this age once, and I need to be more present. So it's a constant state of vigilance to remove myself from that, and I'm not as consistent with it as I should be. But it is. I think it's a constant problem for a lot of people.
I think it's a little tough. For example, my mother, she uses her computer a lot, but she doesn't really know how to do a lot of things with her computer that most of the generation now knows how to do. And trying to teach someone from an older generation how to use the new technology or modern technology can be tough at sometimes.
The apocalypse, I don't know. Yeah, that's tough. A lot of the things, like I said, are beneficial, like medicine, everything from medicine to, waking up from your alarm on your cell phone is beneficial, but some things aren't. So I think it's just a dialogue we need to open among the general public.
We can change the conversation regarding social media, something it doesn't need to be a necessary part of our lives, but I also feel like just younger generations particularly, we're not going to be willing to like give up something that we've grown to like know.
I mean, unless you like burn everything down and like, what's the quote from Aliens? Take off and nuke the site from orbit. I mean, you have to tear everything down and start from scratch. I mean, we've integrated technology into almost every facet of our lives. I think trying to remove that would be an exercise in futility. We're just so dependent on it for so many things, and it's done a lot of good. I mean, life expectation is better. It's been struggling because of stress and anxiety, and people have been, doing that. But I mean, there are technologies that allow people to live, to communicate. We're able to explore things and create things through technology. I mean, the benefits always outweigh the negatives, but I don't think. A couple years ago, I was trying to update my phone, and I downloaded an incomplete operating system update, and then tried to upload that onto my phone, which crashed my phone. I was pissed. And then I had to go to a meeting that night before I could drive home, and I had no way after I left school to be in touch with my wife or my kids. And something felt really wrong about not being able to just shoot them a text or to call and say I'm on my way home. It was just I didn't like that feeling of being disconnected, and that was 4 hours. I think when the push came to shove, I think we would really struggle to move away from technology.
There was like more programs to like cut back screen time or things that make other things more interactive with children or adults and just like adolescents and things like that. I'd say like programs, I guess.
I think the only thing that we can do is make it better, make it faster. I feel like if we didn't have technology, I think 90% of the population would be lost without it. So I think we've become dependent upon it. And so the only thing to do now is just make it better and make it faster and find ways that we can involve more people, which most are using it now.
We are definitely completely reliant on technology in all of our infrastructure. All of our most basic needs are being served by underlying technology. I think technology has created a big problem in that it has created kids that don't really know how to do a lot of things. And I don't really know how we can address that except to try to bring technology in to save us again, so that, maybe people will watch cooking shows and learn how to cook. People will be able to change tires by looking at a YouTube video of how to change a tire. The question is getting from being a consumer to being a producer. Buckminster Fuller was a futurist in the 1960s, and his hypothesis was that technology wouldn't do us in. Ultimately, technology would save us. And so that's what I like to believe. I like to believe that as a futurist, technology ultimately will be the thing that helps us deal with climate change, deal with, isolation, deal with a lot of issues that plague our planet right now.